Alright, so the gas tank's kind of where it's going, and I'll make some kind of tiebacks to the frame, but I'm not worried about that right now. I think the next thing I want to work on is the leather strip that goes down the backbone of it. I already started jumping ahead, and I cut out a new piece that will fit that, and then tried to figure out a combination of what would look good for spacing. It's going to get attached with rivets, so roughly every 3 inches is what I have it marked off. I'm going to run a pair of rivets all the way down, and so I made a little jig up with a piece of leather. And I'll start drilling those holes, and then I think I'm going to spray glue the piece of leather to the frame, and to try to keep it straight, and then I'm going to bend it accordingly going down the ribs and drill it and rivet it. So I'm going to get on that now, and I'll bring you back when I got that attached, and we'll see what she looks like. So that's kind of the after effect. The gas tanks are just sitting on there, but you get the idea. I popped the seat on it. I just want to see what the seat looked like, but it does continue going on down underneath all the way to the end. I just don't know whether I'm going to try making my own seat or not. I probably will in worst case scenario. If I don't like it, I'll just go back to this seat. And I figure once it gets out in the hot sun, it may relax a little. If not, I don't mind the little bit of ribbing it's got. Yeah, a little bit of that going on. But it kind of gives it texture too, you know. So it would have been really cool with the leather belt on the back, but so be it. So I'm also trying to think how I want to go about tying them up. I want to make it so that there's like a strap going over the tanks. It kind of goes over and then goes over. And part of me is thinking, taking and see if I could slice up some leather and make leather straps that go over it. And you know, maybe 4 springs, a spring in each corner, kind of help hold tension. And you can just pull the springs off when you don't, when you want to remove them. Reality of it is, you know, I'm not ever going to really take it off. But the fact that if I want to use this for my main tank and this for my reserve, I would take this tank off, pour it into that tank. So you need to be able to unclip it so that one tank can come off. I left the writing on it. Put it in a prominent place where you can kind of read it, and that's because it's again, that belt material for driving old machinery down there. The other part I was thinking too is maybe just using copper wire with springs and run copper wire over it. I don't know if I want to go crazy with too much copper though. At some point it starts to take away, you know. So I don't know what I'm going to play with yet. I don't know if I want to do the tanks or the seat. One of the two I'm going to jump on. But I'm going to go sit in my little throne right here and contemplate it a little bit more and see what I can come up with. Or maybe I'll try slicing up some leather and laying it on there and see how I like it. But I will let you know as soon as I get there. Alright, so I've been playing with trying to figure out what I want for a seat. And this is the stock seat that's in there. And I actually like it. They're very comfortable. They got a lot of cushion room, probably about 3 inches of crush there in the center where you're sitting, especially for a bike with no suspension. And it actually fits the frame like it should. But the other problem is I've used it on the other bike and I've left it stock, and I kind of want to mix it up a little bit. So, you know, I bought the other stuff to try to make seats, and I started digging through my stash and trying to come up with sissy bars and whatnot. So you see golf clubs and you see some other kind of seats, and that's a piece of exercise equipment. More on this side, there's a seat. I took the cushion right off the frame. I was going to try doing something with the metal frame of it, and there's another old Brooks seat. Got that old banana seat. Kind of like the gold of the banana seat. But the seat itself just doesn't fit this frame. So I started saying, well, if I like that, I like the other seat, what would it take to make that original seat kind of old bicycle-y looking style? So I went and to my paint rack over there, and I found some copper colored paint. And I ended up just taking the original seat and I painted it overnight and I let it sit in front of the heater. And I figure I can clean the paint off the rivets, and they'll pop back at a later date. And I kind of like that, except for the shine that's on the seat. It seems like it's a little too bright. Someone had said, you know, would you go to like your Salvation Army or whatnot and try to find some leather jacket or piece of furniture and cut the leather out of it and wrap the seat. And I was thinking about going along that line, but it was New Year's Eve, and of course everything's closed, and so that's why I went with the paint on that one. So I do kind of like the look that it makes with the rest of it, other than the sheen. So being the good hoarder that I am, I have again another seat that I just went out back and grabbed. It is currently 19 degrees, so it's got to warm up a little bit. But I figure I will try it again. But this is the leather. I went to Home Depot and I got myself some satin paint, and I've used this kind of stuff before, and I've actually had good luck. I did a VW bus seat with it at one point, and it didn't wear off. It stayed on pretty good. So this is the leather that's there, and I figure that's a fairly good match to try to make that look like leather. So I think that's what I'm going to go try. I'm going to go take that seat and heat it up and clean it real good, prep it first, and we'll give that one a shot and see how that one comes out. Again, this one's still tacky if you touch it. It's sat overnight, but it's getting there. So we'll see. I won't need it for a while to ride on anyway, and if there is that chance, I'll just go out back and go grab another seat, another black one. I'll shove it on there for test purposes. But I think that's the route I'm going to go, and we'll see how that makes out. Alright, so I got some paint on that seat, and kind of liking it. A little too shiny. It's tacky. If you try to hold your finger in one place, you'll probably leave a fingerprint on it. But I wanted to stick it in the vise over there, and I took my fingernail, and wherever the chrome little buttons were, I took them and kind of scratched it off like a scratch ticket while it was still soft. Then I just kind of rubbed my hands over the whole thing to try to knock down some of the sheen. I don't know if you can kind of see that. I was kind of hoping it'd be a little bit duller than that, but that's okay. Worst case, I wonder if I can get some clear that's is a flat color. Yeah, I can spray that over the top of it. But we're gonna let that go for now. And if I want to readdress it at a later date, I will. But I kind of like the way it goes with the rivets and the leather. So I moved on to levers. I'm starting to get all the clutch and the brake lever assembly, and while that paint was drying, that's what I was doing. And I'm going to go continue with that and continue chasing my cabling. And then I got a nice idea for hand grips. I think we're going to go try some leather on them too. Kind of nothing worth doing is not worth overdoing. Is that the saying? Anything worth doing is worth overdoing? I don't know. But we're going to go see how that is after I get the cables and the throttles and the brakes all hooked up, and then we'll jump on that. Alright, see you in a minute. Alright, so I tried working on throttle. Clutch is easy. Pretty much just did the same setup. Back down to where it goes. Lever up top with a good adjuster on it. Gotta put a return spring on it, but you get the idea. What's happening is there's just nothing to give it that last little bloop right there. So put a spring on that, that'll take care of that. And that again has the lock on it, so you can squeeze it up into position and lock it. So that would be your clutch, and you can drive it just in a locked position. And when you hit it, it releases itself, and then you're back in neutral again. Throttle, well, I was trying to get fancy on that. I had this the old lamp pull chain, and I had that set up that went from here through a tube, came up through here, went through the air and up to the grip on the handlebars. Now it worked, but the problem I had was I was trying to get it so that when you turn the handlebars, that length does not change. Now I had it set up when on mock-up, but I just couldn't get it back again. And I even tried taking a wrench and welding it to the tube to help support the tube, and basically you're trying to come over dead center of this point right here. So that the front end's pivoting on that, you want to be right above that, and in theory you really shouldn't change all that much. You should kind of maintain that same distance, but in theory and in actuality is two different things. I could have kept going and getting it, and at some point I actually ended up breaking the chain. I was trying to squeeze it up over the handlebars without taking it back out of the grip again, and I said screw it, and decided to just probably go with a cable on that. And the other problem was too is that how much throw you had, you know, that it was giving it about that throttle. Well, that's full throttle. So it's got a good amount of travel. We're looking at that right there. Yeah, that's probably a good, I don't know, 1.5 inches, I'd say. Yeah, about 1.5 inches. How far is that? How close is it coming to the frame? About a 1/2 inch from the frame. Yeah, about 1.5 inches of travel. Regular setup on that, I think pulled about 1 inch. So I'm going to get something that has a little bit more, and Pinky Custom, yeah. Pinky Tuscadero over here is going to go lose her shifters, and I think if I take this shifter and put it on this side upside down, I can use it as a thumb throttle like an ATV has. Of course, it's frozen right now. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm going to go rip that off of there and see how much travel that gives me. I do think that's probably going to pull more than enough cable for what I need, and it's I think a stronger hand position. I know I'm using the wrong hand, but you get to keep your hand more wrapped around the grip when you hit the throttle instead of trying to pull on the lever. So I'm going to give that a go. The seat I had really good. I ended up finding a way to make the texture more flat, so the texture ended up coming out more like that kind of surface, and I ended up using a really fine steel wool, and I was rubbing it down. It was great. It looked like leather. It looked like, well, as close as I could to leather on that seat. And the only problem was I got a little full of myself after I was done. I had it set up on the bike. It looked great, but I was playing with the handlebars and setting it up, and I actually ended up sitting down on it. And I was only going to sit on it for a second, and I played around with it for about 15-20 minutes with different levers and stuff. And when I got up, of course, I left my my gene print in it. So that stuff says that, you know, for painting on vinyl, it could take up to 5 or 6 days to dry thoroughly. So I'm in no hurry. I'll put the other seat on it and use it. But anyway, that's what I did. I screwed it up. So I went and took it and recovered it. I gave it 3 more coats back over it again. And that's where you see it now. She's back to being shiny again. But I can kind of put a grain in it with when I go hit it with the Scotch-Brite or that very fine steel wool. And it even made the little pattern in the center kind of pop out too. So you'll see it soon. But we're just going to go leave that alone. Put that back where it was, and deal with that at another time. Just get it out of the hair. I'll probably bring it in the house if I shut this heat off and let it cure for a couple of days, and then go out, have at it. All right, I'm gonna go work on my my throttle. Oh, and the front brake's on too. When I had it on mock-up, I had it set up behind it, and then of course I built all this stuff on the front end. But I was able to squeeze it back on the front side, which is probably a better way to go about doing it, because you're getting a more, you're hitting it at the top of the apex of the rim instead of hitting it as the apex is still drawing up. And I was afraid the brakes were gonna want to chatter if they were trying to go uphill. So here is more of a pretty good contact patch. That should work out pretty good. Just got to get a cable and a lever for that too, but that should be fine. And then the larger pads, these are again about, I don't know, 2.5 inches long, so that should be fine. And they have on them, there's a cam on this side, on the inside, so if you loosen up that Allen, you could turn that thing any direction you want, point it wherever you want when it's at the rim. So I basically just brought it all the way into the rim and tightened it down. I know I'm starting to babble here, but when the tire's going forward, you kind of want it so that the pad is slightly like this because when it goes in contact with the rim, the arm kind of bends down, so you get a nice flat contact if you put a little bit of arc to them. All right, too much information. All right, guys, I'm going to shut you down. I don't know where this is ending up. I'm probably going to end up cutting this video right here, and then we'll take off again on another one. So again, thanks for watching, commenting, and subscribing, and following me along on this journey. All right, take care.